Friday slate features one game. It's game 3 of the NLCS between the Padres and the Phillies. Joe Musgrove on the mound for San Diego. Ranger Suarez pitching for Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Park. We touched on this game yesterday on Payoff Pitch as a look-ahead spot. Now that we have a little more clarity, we see how the money's coming in, and just to give folks an understanding of what that looks like, over on the Action app, San Diego getting 56% of the bets and 64% of the money at minus 115 on the money line is a slight favorite on Philly. BJ, we'll go to you first since Colin weighed in yesterday, but just a fresh voice on this series. What do you have?
Yeah, I think this matchup specifically on paper, I think it really favors San Diego from a starting pitching matchup. I mean, Joe Musgrove, he's been excellent all season long. He's obviously was really good in the series against the Mets. He's overperformed a little bit this season. He's got an xERA of 3.27, but he does an outstanding job of keeping the ball under the hitter's bats, not allowing a lot of hard contact. He's 88th percentile in hard hit allowed, 90th percentile in average exit velocity allowed. And he's also 8th in Major League Baseball in drawing soft contact from opposing hitters. So I think we'll have a good matchup against the Phillies tonight. And listen, what makes Musgrove so good is that he has 4 pitches that he essentially throws 20% of the time on each of them. And he's allowing under a 295 x-weighted on base average on all 4 of those pitches. So he is an incredibly difficult pitcher to face. And the Phillies, they've been hitting the ball well this postseason. They're above average against right-handed pitching. But they're pretty average against, those 4 pitches that Musgrove will throw, which will be a fastball, a cutter, a slider, and a curveball. Now, on the other hand, Ranger Suarez, I don't really know what how long he's going to go in this game. He obviously had a very short leash in his last postseason outing against the Braves. I'm not sure if the Phillies are going to utilize their bullpen a lot today. They obviously had a rest day yesterday, so they'll be fresh. But I mean, Suarez, he's like the definition of average. Like, he's a 3.8 xERA guy. Like, if you look at it where he's been trending over the last month of October, it hasn't been that good. His xFIP is all the way up at 4.2. He's got a home run per 9 rate of 1.4 from October or September on. So it's interesting. The Padres lineup is pretty average against left-handed pitching. The 3 pitches that Suarez is going to throw is a sinker, changeup, and fastball. Not a lot of movement on those pitches, but the Padres are only a 244 x batting average against those 3 pitches. So, I had Musgrove and the Padres projected a little over minus 120 for the first 5 innings. So I think there is some decent value on the Padres right now for the first 5 innings. And I guess we just really don't know right now where the Phillies are going to do with their bullpen and how long Suarez is going to go in this game. But I do think there is still some value on the Padres the first 5.
Yeah, 86 pitches for Suarez in that start against Atlanta that you had referenced. And Colin, sort of piggybacking off of that, and BJ did a nice job there of presenting points on Musgrove and the pitch mix that he has that makes it challenging potentially for the Phillies lineup. But you were mentioning Musgrove yesterday. He's been their best pitcher as of late. He's been their workhorse.
Yeah, I actually think I trust Musgrove for the Padres more than I even trust Yu Darvish or Blake Snell. We saw what he was capable of against the Mets in that wild card series. Very high on his ability to navigate through this dangerous Philadelphia lineup. I'm on the Padres tonight as well. I'm on them for the full game just because I trust that bullpen enough behind Musgrove. And more than anything, this is a fade of Ranger Suarez. I think that this is a tough matchup for him tonight. Padres are somewhat split proof. Their numbers against lefties versus against righties isn't that stark to where you need to look at the handiness of Suarez as a lefty. But the thing that gives me pause in backing Suarez tonight is the fact that he's a very erratic pitcher. BJ mentioned he's about as average as you can get. But Suarez needs hitters to chase outside the zone to have success, and the Padres simply won't do that. We saw the struggles Suarez had against the Braves. Yes, the Phillies ended up winning that game, but he was out of there early because he struggled to throw strikes. He was falling behind consistently. He was walking a lot of batters. He struggled with walks at times this season. And the Padres are more than willing to take walks, especially post-deadline after they got Juan Soto. So I like the Padres here as well. I think that this is probably going to be our most egregious pitching mismatch of the series with Musgrove against Suarez. I'll bet the Padres full game money line to -120. And after everything I said about Ranger Suarez, I also like his strikeout prop under. We've been going hard on player props all postseason long, had quite a bit of success. Luis Severino hit his over very easily last night. For the Yankees, Suarez's prop right now is 3.5. He's been hitting the over very consistently most of the season. But again, I think that he's going to be racking up a very high pitch count early on in the game, struggle with walks. I don't see it being a long night for him. If under 3.5 right now is at plus money, I got it plus 108 last night. Still plus 100 at BetMGM. So I'm on Suarez's under strikeout prop. That's probably my favorite bet for this game, but I'm also on the Padres in general. And I just want to say, I'm very excited also that this has been a very Philly-centric podcast for the last couple of weeks. So I'm very pleased that BJ is here with us and that we're both on the Padres. I am just imagining Anthony DeBundo right now on some mode of public transportation on his way to Citizen Bank ballpark, because I believe he's going to Game 3 tonight, and he's just angry. He's raging at all the Padres love we're giving on today's podcast.
Keep doing it. Well, don't keep doing it unless you feel strongly about it, like you laid out there. But yeah, Anthony will get over it. He'll be fine. But
I've been betting the Phillies. I've been talking crap about
Yeah.
the Phillies all week long, but I've been betting them. Just today, I like the Padres.
DeBundo's probably at a concert.
the DeBundo slander
Probably smashing
Friday
pumpkins.
episode. Get it all out now. It
Concert.
works on a Friday because he'll be having Diet Cokes later and consumed by baseball. So he ain't going to be listening. Yeah, he'll probably listen. Anyway, what I was going to mention is this Philadelphia team, of course, handles their business against the Cardinals in the wild card round. You've got to go back to that Game 3 against the Braves. They come home after a split, but you get an absolutely dynamite performance by Nola. Went 6 innings, 90 pitches, but you had a 6-run cushion to work with after 3. I'm curious, with Suarez on the mound in a big spot, as Colin mentioned, are they more willing, because of their other solid starting pitching during this run to this stage, are the Phillies more willing to go to the pen sooner rather than later to stay in this contest?
Well, I think that the answer would probably be yes, but I'm a little worried about that just because, and we talked about this a little before we started recording, both the ALCS and NLCS Game 3 through 7, there's no off days because the schedule's a little bit more condensed because of the lockout and the season starting late. Generally, you play 1 and 2, have an off day, play 3, 4, 5, have an off day, and then play 6 and 7. There's no off day between 5 and 6 if the series go that far. Even traveling from Philly to San Diego, traveling from New York to Houston, these teams aren't getting off days. On top of that, Saturday's game is going to be the biggest question mark from Philly from a starting pitching standpoint. We're assuming Noah Syndergaard is going to start. We saw what he did in the last series. He was great through 3 innings, but Philly didn't trust him for more than 3 innings. Pitch counts don't necessarily matter. Tomorrow is going to be as close to a bullpen day as Philadelphia gets, so that might give them a little bit more leash for Suarez. I just don't think he's going to pitch well enough, and he's going to force their hand into using that bullpen, into using Bilotti, maybe Kyle Gibson, whoever else they need to get through today's game.
Syndergaard is not trusted to go beyond 3 innings because everybody knows Zerillo, if he was betting the game, would have the over on the first 5 innings if he went any longer than 3.